What's up, folks? I'm Private Hudson, and this is Duke Nukem Mass This is Bombshell, developed by Interceptor Entertainment, published by 3D Realms, and released in 2016. This originally started out as a Duke Nukem game, because for some sort of reason, George Broussard must have forgotten that he never finished Duke Nukem Forever, because he got addicted to playing World of Warcraft and instead of developing the game, and had to sell the Duke rights to Gearbox. Gearbox kindly reminded him of the fact via a lawsuit, and hence the game was rewritten and Shelly Bombshell Harrison was born. And you know what? I'm okay with that. We have so many games featuring macho guys killing hordes of enemies, spouting cheesy one-liners, so in the spirit of equality, it's about time that we have a sexy female badass do the same. And Shelly is badass. She lost her squad and her arm as part of a failed bomb defusal operation, and has replaced it with a cybernetic one that has an AI called Amiga, and I absolutely love that.
Hello, you can call me PC or prosthetic consciousness.
Good voice. Bad name. Why don't we go with Amiga? And let's up the personality a little more.
Amiga accepted. Reconfiguring personality protocols.
The plot is still totally Duke though. The president gets kidnapped by aliens led by a mad scientist, and you're off on a quest from planet to planet to rescue her. The most basic enemy that you fight looks exactly like the trooper from Duke 3D, and Duke's voice actor John St. John is here as the villain scientist Haskell, and he sounds great. Shelly's voice actress Valerie Aram does a fantastic job too.
That new prosthetic of yours must have cost you an arm and well, just an arm.
Haskell.
I'm glad you recognize the sound of an old friend, Shelly.
Friend isn't exactly the word I'd use.
Most of the NPCs, on the other hand, kinda sound like crap.
I hear you're quite the soldier, Bombshell. Wish we had more like you.
Semper Fi, soldier.
It's still hard to believe this is real. It's like a video game or something.
And yes, those are a reference to Scott Miller and George Broussard. Bombshell is a top-down shooter with RPG elements. The maps are huge with lots of areas to explore, lots of enemies to kill, and optional side quests. Shelly has a large assortment of weapons that get unlocked as you progress through the game. She starts off with the Iron Fury, her trusty pistol that automatically regenerates ammo. She quickly gets a minigun, a shotgun, rocket launcher, and later on a flamethrower and a microwave gun. She also has grenades called bowling bombs that automatically seek out enemies, and her Amiga arm can be detached and used as either a distraction, a mobile turret, or you can take direct control of it to solve some of the environmental puzzles. Now, some of the names of these weapons are complete cringe. The minigun is called the Maxi Gun, and the rocket launcher is called the PMS. The in-game currency is called KY, you know, for KY jelly, of course. Like really, guys? Really? You know, for a game that's somewhat progressive for having a badass female lead, it's regressive at the same time as well. Other than her weapons, Shelly has a few skills available too, including a power slide, a mighty punch, a shield, and a power sword. Lastly, there are a few items you can find. You'll mostly come across medkits, but will occasionally find acceleration boots and hologram copies of Shelly. The combat is pretty great. The weapons pack a huge punch, are fun to use, and sound great. It's gory, it's visceral, it's dumb, stupid fun that I appreciate in games like this. The metal music in the background is the perfect fit for the chaos occurring on screen, and if you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can enable physics for even more enhanced destructive effects. There are a couple of annoyances though. Since the perspective is top-down, you'll sometimes get attacked by enemies that are off-screen. There are also issues when it comes to height. For example, if an enemy is on top of some stairs and you're under them and you shoot at them, the shots may just not land. Oftentimes, you need to be on the same level as them. Lastly, sometimes you get the option of executing an enemy for additional XP. The variety of animations are limited but still look cool. It's the fact that the other enemies just stand by and kindly wait for you to finish your executions and that before resuming their attack on you. I think that's just a little stupid. As mentioned earlier, the game has RPG mechanics. Killing stuff and doing side quests earns you XP, and when you level up, you get skill points. These can be used to either improve your skills or your passive stats like health, energy, and shields. Weapons are also upgradable as you reach certain levels, and each weapon has 2 mutually exclusive upgrade paths. For example, I upgraded the maxi gun to shoot explosive rounds as its secondary fire, and for the PMS to shoot homing missiles. One thing to note is you can't undo your selections. When you pick an upgrade path for a weapon, that upgrade is going to be permanent. For a 6-year-old game, I still think it looks fantastic. The top-down perspective certainly helps hide any textures that may seem a bit low-res at this point, but the action, the set pieces, even the close-up cutscenes all look great. So, with all these positive things said, is there anything wrong with the game? Well, I did mention that this was developed by Interceptor Entertainment. In case you don't know who these folks are, these are the guys that developed the Rise of the Triad reboot back in 2013. I bought and reviewed that game back then, and in case you don't remember or haven't seen my review, here's a little snippet of it.
$15. $15, man. What could possibly go wrong? Just about everything.
This is from a company that couldn't get a weapon switching animation done right. There were also so many other design issues with Rot, such as a lack of a quick save system, cheap instant death traps, bugs, terrible platforming sections. Now I think they eventually patched it to include quick saving, but the fact it wasn't there at launch says a lot. The other issues still stand though. Do you think that this company learned anything from a design standpoint since then? The answer is no. Bombshell is such a mess in so many ways, and it's a shame. It too has terrible platforming sections, but for this I'm gonna give them a pass because I played through this game using a keyboard and mouse from start to finish. It wasn't until I was about halfway through did I realize that, hey, I'm kind of limited to 8-way digital input for movement, so that one is on me. After completing the game, I did briefly try the New Game Plus option with a controller, and I have to say the movement with a controller is smooth and great, so if you're using a controller, the platforming should be a non-issue. But if you're using a controller, you're forced to use a weapon wheel for weapon selection. You don't get the ease of access of switching weapons that you do with a keyboard, so pick your poison. Moving on, the maps are way too large and the game is way too long. It took me about 15 hours to beat it, and I guess I was playing it the wrong way the whole time. I was playing it like an actual action RPG, meaning I explored every single bit of the map and did all the side quests. It wasn't until I got up to the 3rd planet that I realized that there's no point in doing any of this. There's no loot like in a real RPG, so the only things you'll find when exploring are medkits that you don't need. As a matter of fact, I finished the game with over 100 of them. Ammo that you probably don't need since there's ammo everywhere, and currency that you don't need since currency is pretty much only used to buy ammo. Yes, a small amount is used for weapon upgrades when leveling, but that amount is negligible and you get enough money from killing enemies anyway. For the side quests, somehow your GDF comrades are always one step ahead of you, somehow they get to the next planet before you do, and they're always getting themselves into trouble. And all these side quests are usually the laziest of design. They just involve rescuing an X amount of Marines or blowing up an X amount of enemy facilities, and none of it has any impact on the story, on the situation, on the gameplay, on anything. Another issue with the level design is that each planet has some sort of annoying insect. They die in one shot or they die when you walk into them, but shooting at them just doesn't work half the time for some sort of reason. On one planet they poison you, on another they freeze you. They're effectively harmless, they're just annoying, pointless, and slow the game down while you stand there and wait for either the poison to run out or the frozen status to run out. I don't get it. Then there are the actual game bugs, my god. Here, I get stuck under a moving platform with no way out other than having to restart at the last checkpoint and replaying all of my progress. Here's one where Shelly ends up walking slow for no reason. I even tried dying at one point and she still walked slow after respawning. The only fix is, again, reload checkpoint and redo your progress. I guess you can say that Bombshell had to walk so that Iron Fury could run. Ha, ha, ha. My favorite bug, though, was this mini-boss that was supposed to either spawn or enter the room you're in, but he doesn't. He's outside and he can't get in, and you can't leave the room until you kill him. And here, unfortunately, reloading to the last checkpoint didn't work on this bug. I had to dig deep through old posts on the Steam forums for a solution, and I did find a workaround, which is to switch to the Amiga weapon, which allows you to somehow shoot through the wall and kill him. The fact that this bug was never fixed really shows the incompetence of these developers. Lastly, what completely kills this game and breaks my heart, it really breaks my heart, is the fact that the only gun worth using is the Iron Fury. Yes, your starting weapon. You can upgrade it to become a railgun that kills almost every single enemy in the game in one shot. Upgrading it further pierces through enemies, so you can kill multiple enemies in one shot. Let's not forget that this weapon doesn't require any ammo as it regenerates it automatically. It even melts through bosses. Just take a look at this. This is awful, just truly awful. Once I realized this, I just breezed through the last 2 planets using only this gun. Yes, the second to last planet does have a shielded enemy that reflects your shots, which will kill you instantly, but guess what? There's no real penalty for dying. You can respawn right there in the same spot where you died. At what cost? You lose 5% of your money. That's it. Money. That's basically only used for ammo that you never buy because ammo can be found everywhere. Oh my god. What an oversight. Did anyone playtest this? Anyone? Jesus Christ. I also never really had a reason to use Shelly's skills. There's no point. First of all, why is there a power slide when the mighty punch slides you into the enemy anyway? Why would you waste your time using the sword and getting into melee range when your pistol one-shots everything? Every single time I leveled up, I just put points into health and shields. There's no point in leveling anything else. What a mess. What an absolute, complete, and outright mess. Thank you for playing Bombshell. We've put our blood, sweat, and tears into this game. Oh, like hell you did. I also like how Gearbox is at the top of the special thanks list. It's like, thanks guys for suing us so that we couldn't make a Duke Nukem game and made this instead. Bombshell makes me sad. It makes me so sad. There are good ideas here. The combat is fun. The game looks and sounds great. Shelly is such an awesome character, but the game is just broken in so many ways. The bugs, the balance, the length. My god, why is it 15 hours long? It gets so boring and tedious. If this was an actual action RPG with loot and gear, it would at least give a reason for these huge maps to exist, give you a reason to explore and do the side quests, and it would justify the game length. I mean, I suppose if you don't do any of the side stuff and just rush through it, you can probably finish it in like 10 hours or so, but still. Then what's the point of them even being there? And you know what else? They're still charging $35 for this game. Luckily, I purchased this back in 2018 in a Fanatical bundle for $7, and there were like 10 other games in it. So I got a pretty good deal. If you folks want to play it now, and my god, why the hell would you? I really don't know what would be a good price for it. Maybe $5 if it ever goes on sale. I do have a confession to make. I will admit that I did have some fun with the game. I did enjoy parts of it. Part of me honestly likes it. But I can't deny that I experienced just as much frustration and boredom as I did fun. I really wanted to like this game and I really wanted to recommend it, but I can't. I'll also say that this game is better than Duke Nukem Forever, but that's not saying much. And finally, the follow-up to Bombshell called Iron Fury is one of the best old-school first-person shooters that I've played. I'm glad that the character of Shelly Bombshell Harrison lives on in an actual good game. Anyway, folks, I'm Private Hudson. I'm signing out. I'll see you all next time.